ways I treat the system is actually very similar to some ways that we work with muscle and fascia. The fascia is this gorgeous stuff. It is full of collagen fibers, hyaluronic acid. It's a fluid with fibers in it. So it's able to move, it's able to reconstruct, it can form any type of shape it wants. The challenge is when fascia gets injured, it puts down more fibers as a protective mechanism and enough fibers create scar tissue, which means that fluidic motion of the fascia isn't happening anymore. It stops the motion. And wherever there's stillness, we're cutting off our life force. Now, the body's doing this as a protective mechanism, but if we can get into that tissue and get it moving again, it heals itself better. Different ways we work with tissue. They're pretty much the same. Where is it? Here it is. Here's my rubber band. All over the body, we want to be fluid and flexible like our rubber band. Now, you're familiar getting, everybody's had a leg cramp or a Charlie horse in the middle of the night, and you call it a knot in your muscle because that's actually what it feels like. It feels like a knot. So when we're working with the body and you have a knot, knots don't want to be stretched anymore. They're already stretched enough. Something stretched too far and the body cramped down. Now you got a cramp and there's less oxygen getting in there. We want to get the oxygen in, so it makes sense to stretch it to get blood flow, except if it's already in a knot, it doesn't want to stretch. So another way to get blood flow is to contract it further. And that's how we get, the best way is to push the ends together. This is called positional release. When we put two ends of the body closer together, it allows the knot to unwind. Now, sometimes something's injured and it's become more scar tissue and it's gotten dehydrated and tight. It's not in a knot, it's just hyper contracted and it's gotten hard. That's when stretching is amazing. That's when we can work the fibers and work them apart, and then you stretch and you get your length back. So we have fluid flexibility again. That's how we would treat a muscle. We actually use some of the same techniques in the cranial system. Working with it, I'm assessing the movement and flow, and you can feel these rhythmic motion patterns that should be there, and then you can find the pathological ones, and you can find stillness where you don't want it. So one of the ways we engage is as we work with the tissue, the body itself you'll feel it contract. You can feel different parts. You just contract up real hard, and then it releases and it lets go, and it brings softness back into the system, and it opens up and the movement is there. So sometimes there's a contraction, sometimes there's a stretching. I do a beautiful head release with my head up underneath the back of the skull, and just hold the head and let the head release from the spine, open up the neck. The congestion fluid is able to drain from the head better, and it's one of the most beautiful things. Most people think it's very relaxing. So I hope you get to come try a session soon.